Hi there, this is Jason Eagle with Strategic Healing, your natural health authority. And we're going to talk today about if I knew then what I know now, I would have saved myself my hair. Okay? My hair loss. What is hair loss? What can you do about it? Is there anything you can do about it? Yes, there is. So first and foremost, what we're talking about is male pattern baldness. So if you can see, like in my hair, so I have hair around here, but I don't have hair here. And you can see kind of like it's got like a patch right here. And part of it is it has to do with the anatomy and the physiology. So we can see up in here looking at the scalp and looking at how the blood supply goes and all these other things. And what male pattern baldness has something also to do with what's called DHT, dihydrotestosterone, which is testosterone that is in both males and females, but primarily in males. Females produce testosterone as well. If it's free form and it's the way it's supposed to be, it does not get converted into dihydrotestosterone. There's always going to be a little bit of dihydrotestosterone, but when it becomes really high levels, then it starts to go and increase into the bloodstream. And then there are cells that are programmed to, when they receive the dihydrotestosterone, they have certain reactions. So one of the things that we know is that the hair follicles, when dihydrotestosterone goes into the bloodstream at the base, at the bulb of the hair follicles, it causes the hair follicles to shrink. Now, we used to think that that was just because it's affecting the hair follicles. Okay, well, that's not 100% the case. What it's doing is it's actually changing the structure of what the hair follicle has to grow through. There's a blood stream and there's a blood supply. So if you look inside the skull, you got the brain, and then you have the skull, and then you've got some connective tissue, and then you have other tissue, and then you've got blood supply, and then you've got fat, and then you've got and other tissues. But in particular, it's a tissue that's what's called the gallia aponeurotica, the gallia aponeuroses. And if you look, you can see that the structure of it exactly matches where we start to see the hair loss. So what that means is that the gallia aponeurotica is actually this connective tissue. And it's the thing that's responsible for being able to lift the eyebrows and that type of thing. You got muscles here, you got muscles back here, but it's this connective tissue, and it's kind of like a sheet, right? Well, what happens is when it gets very thick and fibrotic and calcified, it starts to become kind of like the ground that becomes hardened and starts to choke off the grass. Okay, the grass blades, when it's nice and fluffy and aerated and it can get moisture and all this other stuff, the grass blades and the stuff that grow up through it is able to be well nutrified. But as it gets more and more compacted, you start to see that the grass blades start to get smaller, the hair follicles start to get thinner and smaller and choked off, and eventually they get, now I have places where you can still see I have nice thick hairs, and then I can have places where it's tiny little baby hairs, little fuzz, and then you have places where it's just nothing whatsoever. It's related to the gallia aponeurotica is tightening up, and it's literally choking off the blood flow to the hair follicle. It is related to dihydrotestosterone. So the first antidote that we're going to do is we're going to use greens mix. So what's in greens mix is oat straw, Avena sativa. Avena sativa has been shown to be a very successful DHT blocker. There's all kinds of drugs and all kinds of stuff that works in this manner, and they work, the drugs and the foams that you can put on their hair, but they're chemicals and they're really bad and they're expensive. The Avena sativa, the oat straw, is very cheap, okay? And so if you take it in the diet, and in fact, some even talk about actually doing it topically, making a tea, oat straw tea, and using that as like a compress. There's tinctures that you can put on. But in general, I think what is the thing is if you start noticing that your hair is starting to fall out, that's the time to get it. If it's starting to thin, you get on anywhere between 4 to 6 tablespoons, probably about 4 tablespoons per day of the greens mix. And what it will do is it stops the formation or major formation of the DHT. And so it becomes a DHT blocker, which then stops this process. Then there's another thing that you can actually do is where's the castor oil pack? What did I do with it? Here it is. That's the mini mineral serum. Castor oil. I had it. Oh, castor oil. Here it is. Castor oil packs. Okay. Putting castor oil packs on the scalp with the castor oil and then a little bit of the cotton flannel and literally putting it on the scalp. What it will do, and doing massage, or even just putting the castor oil maybe a few times a week, what it will do is it will get deep into the tissue and soften the tissue, deep into any part of the body. It goes layer upon layer and goes very deep, and it keeps it soft. And what it will do is it will keep it from tightening up. These are great tricks. The problem is that it's too late. If it's gotten to this point and it's compacted and it's too late. I know people that have done, I did it and it didn't work. It didn't really, I saw some benefit, but it didn't keep it, okay? So the point is getting on this before it starts to choke off, before it starts to get to the stage of where the hair follicle has already been choked off and died. So if you start seeing this happen, this is true for women as well too, because there's the same physiological process going on with women that are having what would be the male pattern baldness or the androgen response. So the greens mix, castor oil packs, there's a number of other things that you can do, but these are great tricks in terms of they're cheap, and what you do is when you get on them early, you halt the process, and as long as you stay on them, you don't lose any more hair, and you're actually re-nutrifying the skull, re-nutrifying the aponeurotica, keeping blood supply going to it, and you're heading it off at the pass, and you're getting it to stop. So the trick is do it before, when you start to notice it, get on it. Okay? Till next time, bye-bye.